Okay, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I would like to announce that Vilnius Security Forum 2021 is beginning, and I also happily would like to inform that this is already the 5th annual event which National Defense Foundation is organizing. So, also I would like to thank for our partners, co-organizers, and supporters, Finnish Embassy, Baltic Civil Defense Network, Helming International, Lithuanian Armed Forces, Konrad Adenauer Foundation, Baltic American Freedom Foundation, and other important partners. Now I would like to introduce the moderator of the conference, Arūnas Pemkus. He is a business consultant and long-year friend of our National Defense Foundation. So Arūnas, please, floor is yours.
Good morning to everyone. The Vilnius Security Conference, this one is the 5th one. It was supposed to happen last year, but due to COVID, unfortunately, we had to postpone until this year. Right now, we begin the conference, and it is my great pleasure to introduce to you Viktorija Čmilytė. She is the chairman of the Seimas, of the Lithuanian Parliament. She has been a member of the Seimas since 2011, so she has been elected twice. And most importantly, she is ranked number 7 as the world's best chess player, with a ranking of 2538 in FIDE. The professional chess player has been her visiting card, business card in working with the Seimas. She is confident, she is very diplomatic, and quiet in her approach. Therefore, I would like to introduce you to Ms. Viktorija Čmilytė.
Labadiena, gerbėmieji forumo dalyviai ir svečiai. Sveikinu šiandien susirinkus stiprinti Lietuvos saugumą. Nuoširdžiai tikiuosi, kad šiandienos forumas paskatins atvirą diskusiją tarp politikų, valstybinių institucijų ir nevyriausybinių organizacijų ir visų tų, kurie prisideda prie mūsų regiono saugumo stiprinimo. Iššūkiai, su kuriais Lietuva susiduria kasdien, yra įvairialypiai. Nuo stiprėjančios įtakos tų, kurie turi imperializmo lūkesčių mūsų sąskaitą, iki mūsų piliečių duomenų apsaugos. Kasdien susidurėme su vis naujesnėmis grėsmėmis mūsų saugumui, į kurias privalome reaguoti greitai ir efektyviai. Šiandien nemažai įvairių sričių ekspertų pasaulyje sutiktų, kad seniau niekas taip neskatino progreso, taip pat ir skaitmeninio saugumo pažangos, kaip pandeminiai 2020 metai. Gyvename laiku, kai mūsų nacionalinio saugumo būklė tapo neatsiejama nuo situacijos kaimyninėje Baltarusijoje, kur demokratija yra brutaliai gniaužiama, o pilietinė visuomenė tiesioginė ta žodžio prasme dar šiandien yra mušama. Lietuvai palaikant laisvę siekiančius Baltarusius, kyla keršto grėsmė mūsų energetiniai nepriklausomybei. Esame pasirengę atremti visus šiuos ir kitus mums metamus iššūkius, tačiau turime aiškiai juos apibrėžti ir įtraukti visus mūsų šalies saugumu suinteresuotus partnerius. Tad dar kartą dėkoju, kad susirinkote šiandien į Vilniaus saugumo forumą ir linkiu sėkmingų diskusijų.
Thank you to Chairwoman Viktorija Čmilytė Nielsen. Next, I would like to invite Mr. Ilkka Kanerva. He is a Finnish politician and one of the longest-serving members of the Parliament of Finland. He is currently chairman of the Defense Committee in the Parliament. During his career, he has served as Minister for Foreign Affairs, Deputy Prime Minister, Minister of Labor, and Minister of Transport. In 2014, he was elected President of the Parliamentary Assembly of the OSCE, and currently, Mr. Kanerva serves as Emeritus President and Special Representative on Mediation of Parliamentary Assembly of the OSCE. It is my pleasure to introduce to you Mr. Ilkka Kanerva.
Ladies and gentlemen, greetings from Finland. And as a chairman of the Defense Committee of the Parliament of Finland, it's absolutely a great honor for me to address this distinguished audience. Of course, I would have preferred to deliver my remarks in person, but unfortunately, the COVID-19 situation is what it is. In any case, I think it's extremely important to discuss these very topical subjects, and I want to thank our Lithuanian colleagues for organizing the Vilnius Security Forum regardless of the challenging circumstances. Hybrid threats, including cyber attacks and disinformation operations, pose a serious and increasing challenge to our societies. By taking advantage of the vulnerabilities and democratic and open societies, hostile actors undermine our security, prosperity, and our values. Hybrid threats are ambitious and designed to allow deniability. Therefore, it's difficult, but even more important to address them. In a recently published government's report on Finnish foreign and security policy, close attention has been paid to countering hybrid threats. Finland views security from a wide perspective, alongside phenomena such as military threats, great power competition, and hybrid influencing. Finland takes into account the security threats posed by various global challenges. These two phases of security are not mutually excluding, but rather complementary, and by consolidating both, security can be strengthened in an overreaching and sustainable manner. Special attention should be paid to implementation, as responsibilities and competencies are shared between several different ministries. Countering hybrid threats requires that matters of national security are taken into account in the work of all relevant intergovernmental institutions. This thinking is something criticized as securitization, but it is the only way to respond to modern complex threats, the effectiveness of which is usually based on exploiting ambiguity in the division of responsibilities between different authorities and gaps in security policy understanding or situational awareness. A central part of the Finnish response to hybrid threats is a concept of comprehensive security. The concept is basically the Finnish model of crisis preparedness coordination. At its core is the idea that authorities, business, NGOs, and citizens are jointly responsible for society's most vital functions. The aim is that when crisis does occur, the entirety of Finnish society is able to rapidly mobilize resources where needed, recover quickly, and adapt its security based on the lessons learned. The roots of the concept are in the past Second World War doctrine of total defense, where the entire society is mobilized as part of the military defense effort. Finnish model of comprehensive is based on broad concept of security, which goes beyond traditional military threats to also account for other kinds of threats against society. These can be hostile acts, such as cyber attacks, election influence, or hybrid warfare operations. Other examples include anything from large-scale epidemics, serious disruptions to food supply, serious disruptions in border management, such as uncontrolled migration or major accidents. The concept for comprehensive security is above all the model for preparedness. It is too late to react to the incident when it has already begun. The groundwork for the crisis response must be laid far before the crisis occurs. Preparedness planning means identifying society's most vital functions, potential threats, and weaknesses to these, as well as relevant security actors. The key element of preparedness requires active and sustained effort. To this end, the day-to-day application of the concept of comprehensive security is coordinated in Finland by the Security Committee. The committee consists of representatives from the government, Office of the President, defense forces, as well as authorities and civil society actors. On a national level, national defense courses, we have used to say that word in Finland, to use that word in Finland, play an important role in disseminating preparedness skill and knowledge. Select officials, business and political leaders, and other key persons are invited to the courses, and the refresh the knowledge with set intervals. In a national crisis, participants know their role in the system. In sum, the Finnish model aims to combine a rapid, adaptable local response with system-level coordination and learning. Preparedness ends where a crisis begins. However, if done well, preparedness assures the best possible response, no matter the threat. The role of international cooperation of like-minded states in fighting against border hybrid threats is undisputed. The importance of the European Centre for Excellence for Countering Hybrid Threats in Helsinki, which supports participating states, individual and collective efforts to enhance their capabilities, resilience, and preparedness to counter hybrid threats, is widely recognized. Hybrid Centre is also a prime example of coordination between the EU and NATO with concrete and added value. I'm sure Mr. Rasmus Hidren, the head of the international relations in Hybrid Centre, will go further into this subject in his presentation today. Countermeasures at national and international level are also equally important. Actions must be comprehensive and integrated. This requires raising awareness and all relevant actors and integrating to work together in a coherent and strategically competitive way. During the last electoral term, the Finnish Parliament did quite a bit legislative work in the Defense Committee regarding issues in defense, security, and hybrid threats. This provides us legal framework to counter evolving threats and strengthen our resilience. Some examples: civil and military intelligence legislation. Secondly, improving readiness of our defense forces. Thirdly, regulating dual citizenship and dual nationality. Then regulating foreign real estate ownership and investment. And legislation concerning the provision and the request for international assistance. and finally, legal aspects of host nation support. Thus, this term, as we have been paying attention to further legislation, for example, regarding emerging technologies such as 5G, cyber threats, and law on states emergency. In theory, we should have had an effective set of tools at our disposal to manage a variety of threats, including a global pandemic such as COVID-19. As in living life, however, theory is only theory. In practice, COVID-19 crisis has shown us that even the best concept and associated preparedness actions don't guarantee 100% success in managing unexpected security threats. There is always something to learn, and it is wise to take heed of these teachings. I'm sure we will carefully analyze the strengths and weaknesses of our model for comprehensive security in managing the coronavirus over the coming months and even years. In my view, we have no other choice. As far as the safety of our citizens is concerned, we cannot be satisfied with the imperfect outcome. It is our duty to strive for the better. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'm confident that your discussions today will offer much food for thoughts in the demanding work on countering hybrid threats. I would be glad to receive a summary of your discussions here today. On behalf of the Defense Committee of the Finnish Parliament, let me finish by thanking you for the opportunity to deliver this keynote speech. I really wish you all good health and successful seminar. Thank you very much.
As most of you are listening to this conference from a distance, I can tell you right now that this hall is relatively empty. There are only a handful of us here. But it is with great pleasure that I introduce to you our next keynote speaker, Dr. Laurynas Kasčiūnas, who is a political scientist and was first elected to the Parliament of the Republic of Lithuania in 2016. He worked as analyst in various research centers and lectured at the Institute of International Relations and Political Science at Vilnius University. Before being elected to the Seimas himself, he advised Seimas political colleagues on various Lithuanian national security and foreign policy issues. Now in his second term as member of Seimas, he is chairman of the National Security and Defense Committee. Please, Dr. Kasčiūnas.
Good morning. Thank you very much for the introduction. First of all, let me welcome all participants, all guests, and of course organizers. I'm happy that this Vilnius Security Forum is already a tradition. And of course, the pandemic is a challenge, but I'm happy that we have the tools and ways, we find the ways how to overcome these challenges and to meet and to organize this forum. Because, you know, this forum annually gains and brings together most outstanding security experts from Lithuania and beyond to cover and scrutinize the latest trends and challenges in the realm of international security. Today, forum focuses on hybrid threats and resilience. This is highly relevant for today's security situation in Lithuania and the world, as we are faced with a wide spectrum of hybrid threats, spanning from propaganda, disinformation, cyber attacks, interfering into elections and political process, use of criminal groups and organized crime, exploitation of energy policy, penetration into strategic economic sectors, including 5G infrastructure, and even exploitation of COVID-19 pandemic for geopolitical purposes. By employing a broad range of hybrid rules, hostile states aim to create controlled chaos in order to create instability, to complicate and ultimately undermine decision-making. Recently presented in Lithuania, the latest national threat assessment by the intelligence services revealed a variety of vulnerabilities of Lithuanian society. The threats we face are growing smarter and increasingly difficult to identify, and their impact on national security is multi-faced. We clearly see that third countries, especially China, are putting every effort to establish themselves in the fields of information technology and 5G mobile communications. 5G technology will penetrate all areas, including management of strategic facilities as well as governmental and military communications. Therefore, Lithuania and Europe at large will have to choose between dependence on and control by the technologies of companies managed by authoritarian regimes, on the one hand, or opt for the producers and suppliers from reliable countries that meet the criteria of Euro-Atlantic integration on the other. Having assessed these risks, the Committee of National Security and Defense plans to step up the protection of sectors and facilities of importance to national security, improve the legal regulation on procurement as regards strategic national facilities and enterprises, and restrict the openness of procurement process to business entities that fail to meet transatlantic security criteria. A negative impact on national security of Lithuania may be exerted not only by hostile intelligence and security services, but also through other entities of third countries, including business enterprises and their groups, lobbying entities, non-governmental organizations, and organized criminal formations. In order to mitigate these risks, we plan to establish an obligation for such entities to publicly disclose their relations with their clients, funders, and final beneficiaries. The time has come to talk about transparency and openness on financial assistance received from the third non-EU, non-NATO countries. We have examples of such regulation in the US, Australia, and Israel, where recipients of financial assistance from foreign countries have the obligation to openly declare the sources of their funding. In Lithuania, entities of third countries must also be identified and registered by obliging them to explicitly indicate their status before they begin any lobbying or propaganda activities. The COVID-19 pandemic has added up to the map of hybrid threats and revealed the new vulnerabilities in our country. Russia and China are using the pandemic trying to improve their international image or discredit their geopolitical adversaries. We have started to use medical support and innovation as a source of influence that can increase their power in the international arena. Moreover, the pandemic has spurred the growing spread of radical political ideologies and destructive conspiracy theories in many countries. This tendency is also observed in Lithuania. In the face of pandemic and the growing number of hybrid threats, it has become clear that we here in Lithuania lack an effective model for crisis and emergency management. Hybrid threats represent a complex phenomenon. Therefore, prevention and defense must also be multi-faced. The Committee of National Security and Defense aims to ensure that the specific features of hybrid threats are taken into account when improving the national crisis emergency management system. Here in Lithuania, we must do more to work on the solutions, how to streamline our systems into a unified, integrated, and well-coordinated crisis management system to counter contemporary threats to our national security and public safety. It means whole of government approach, but it won't be enough. We have to follow whole of society approach too. The best defense against hybrid threats and gray zone warfare is to make sure that society is resilient and functional. A society where every citizen feels a stakeholder in the defense of a country and all segments of society have a role to play in keeping the nation protected. Hybrid influence is not a new phenomenon, but it has helped to re-examine the ways to protect countries, societies, and institutions from hostile forces. First of all, this involves strengthening the resilience of a state and citizens by recognizing each country's specific weaknesses and trying to turn them into the strengths. A coordinated response by our foreign colleagues and a united position on this issue, which can be promoted in the EU and NATO cooperation formats, are also of vital importance. I take this opportunity to thank the initiators, supporters, keynote speakers, and participants of the forum. I hope that this topic of the Vilnius Security Forum, your discussions and insights will contribute to our common understanding of the hybrid threats, public education, and greater resilience. So thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you, Dr. Kriščiūnas. Now we begin the actual conference. Just a couple of administrative explanations. There will be 4 panels, each consisting of about 1.5 hours. Each panel will have several speakers, and we hope to leave some time at the end of each presentation so that we can accept questions so that the panel members can answer them. Please, if you are connected by computer, please send your questions to Slido, S-L-I-D-O. I don't, slid.com. If you are connected, you should be able to find the location where to ask those questions. It's always difficult to try to coordinate when we are all at a distance. I am told that the next panel starts at 9:45, so in order to not risk that some of the panel members are not yet well connected, we will call for a 15-minute coffee break. Apologies for that. Thank you.